on top of lifting weights for a long period of time, I've also done a few years of boxing, and I actually didn't expect it to be the experience that it was, and I didn't expect it to have as many positive side effects as it did. So in today's video, I would like to talk about like the top 5 reasons why, in my opinion, every single person out there should try a combat sport. And it doesn't necessarily need to be boxing, it doesn't necessarily need to be kickboxing, it can be any combat sport, but I feel like it is going to be beneficial for any single person that hasn't tried a combat sport to just try it in general because of these 5 reasons specifically. And the first one, which is also the most obvious one in my opinion, is like the fitness related aspects of it. So like you're never going to get the type of cardio like by running on a treadmill that you get from boxing. Like boxing is a absolutely different type of cardio because also it involves you being stressed and you figuring out like high intensity stressful situations as you're also doing a very cardio demanding thing. So like it is going to improve your cardio quite a lot. And also on top of it, it's just like if you get bored by running on a treadmill or if you don't want to jog as much, this is also going to be like a more interesting, more dynamic kind of a way to do cardio in. So like when I would box actively, like I would lose a lot of weight. So like I don't even have to go on a cut, but when I'm actively boxing, it's just you're going to lose weight by default because like training on a day-to-day basis is just going to be so energy consuming. So that is one of the things that I noticed since I started boxing. Then the other thing that is actually, in my opinion, even more important is that just boxing gives you like a reality check. And once again, it's not going to be exclusively to boxing. This is going to be the case with most combat sports that you're going to do, but it is going to give you like a legitimate reality check, and you're going to quite quickly realize that nobody over the age of like a high school kid is actually somebody you can like beat up easily. And I mean, sure, maybe you can like beat up the ladies that do like fucking cardio kickboxing classes, but like it is going to present you with the reality, and the reality is basically that you're not that good at fighting. Like you think that you are, but in reality you are not. So like anyone that is not like a middle-aged lady or like a kid over the age of a high school kid is not actually going to be that easy to beat up. And that was a thing that I quite quickly realized when I started training, because like after like the first week of just like doing drills, they placed me in the ring for my first sparring session with somebody that also has like done zero training. Basically kind of like the guy was exactly in the same position as I was in, and it was not difficult to do anything. Like I thought that I'm going to steamroll him, and I did end up getting like the better hand over him, but like it was not an easy thing to do, and it was much more demanding than I thought that it's going to be. So the thing that boxing also did for me is it just kind of like taught me that you're not as strong as you think you are, and that there are levels to this game, and anyone that does this sport seriously is going to beat the brakes off of you. Then the next thing, and the third thing that boxing gave me, and just generally training combat sports gave me, is confidence. Like you are going to be better in social settings if you are going to be confident, and combat sports give you the confidence to like just kind of normally function. Because I remember back in the days I would be even kind of like afraid to talk to a lady that I like, just because there would be like other guys around, and like these guys wouldn't really have anything to do with the lady. It's just like random men standing around the, for example, lady that you want to talk to, and I would be afraid to talk to her because I would be afraid of like basically like ending up in a conflict situation with any of these guys. So yeah, like just like if you are going to be familiar with combat sports, and if you are going to have a level of experience when it comes to combat sports, you are going to be better in social settings, you are going to be more relaxed, you're going to take a little bit more of a risk when it comes to like talking to people, so you are just going to be better, your confidence is going to be higher. Then also another thing, the fourth thing when it comes to like training combat sports, and for me specifically boxing, is like you are going to become a kinder person. And I didn't expect this one. This one was actually fairly expected. I thought that like the people that box and the people that train combat sports are going to be mean and kind of like angry people in general. But no, it is actually the opposite. Actually, the people that train combat sports are the nicest people around. So like you are actually going to become a kinder, more chill person because you're not going to constantly have this aggression in you, because you basically kind of like spend all the aggression that you have during the training, and then when you're outside of training you just want to be nice, chill and calm, and you just want to be friends with everyone. So that also was a thing that it did for me. I just became a nicer, kinder person because I'm no longer interested in fighting with people, especially random people outside of the gym. So I'm just like trying to avoid conflicts, trying to be nice to people, trying to like have nice positive interactions with people. And that was like also like one that I didn't really expect, because like normally when you think about like people fighting, you think it's an aggressive thing and you think that that is going to make you more aggressive, but no, it actually does the absolute opposite. And then the last but not least, and actually the biggest thing in my mind, is that you are not going to be afraid of conflict when conflict comes. So this was the thing that actually changed everything for me. And this is the best benefit that I gained out of doing combat sports. Because like normally you live your life, and like as you live your life, the worst thing that can possibly happen to you is like you getting into a fight. And that is kind of like the thing that you are afraid of the most. And that is going to kind of dictate how is it that you live your life. Because for example, I have friends that have done no combat sports, and they live their life in constant fear of being confronted and in constant fear of like getting into a fight. And I don't really have this fear. I'm able to like move around freely. I'm able to live freely because, okay, yeah, I do not want to get into a fight. And I am going to do my absolute best to avoid getting into a fight. But, well, if the fight happens and if there is no way of avoiding the fight, I'm able to fight. I'm able to defend myself. And once again, I'm not going to be competitive with like anyone that has actually done the sport in like a professional or even like an amateur competitive matter. But like if I'm going against somebody that has done like a few months of like cardio kickboxing classes, like I'm going to do well. I'm going to be fine. So yeah, it's just like you kind of have this sense of freedom and this sense of like being able to live in a normal, chill way, because you're not really afraid of somebody fucking with you, and you're mostly going to be fine. And even if you're not going to win, at least you are going to be aware of what is it that you need to do to defend yourself as good as you possibly can. So yeah, basically these are the 5 things that I noticed that changed for me after I started doing combat sports. So it is actually a very good thing to try. And even if you don't plan on being competitive, and even if you're going to do this at the lowest of levels, I still suggest that that is something you try if you haven't tried it, because first of all, you're going to find community, you're going to fall in love with the sport most probably, and it's just good to do hard things. It's good to challenge yourself, it's good to try out new things, and there are going to be some very clear, very obvious benefits to you doing this. So yeah guys, try out combat sports. That is the video for today. Thank you guys for watching the video, and see you guys in the next one.